2 here in Taichung, but this one has all the feel of a final. Two teams at 1-0 in the standings in Pool B. The Netherlands and Chinese Taipei as the 2013 World Baseball Classic continues. And good afternoon once again, everyone. JB Long with Joe McGrain. And Joe, I think it's important that we stipulate this is pool play. This is not a bracket, but this game this afternoon has all the feel of a winner's contest.
Well, you're right, JB. It is round robin, but it does give you the feeling that whoever wins this game today is going on to the next round.
And it feels that way because both teams, I think, were so impressive here on day one. Let's start with the Dutch. Their performance complete. Offense, defense, great starting pitching. They capitalize on the opponent's mistake, but I think what we have to see here is actual visuals of the plays they made with the gloves.
Big surprise was the defense. Hensley Mullen said it was going to be a very aggressive fastball hitting team. We did see that, but I think what came as more of a surprise was how athletic they were defensively. He feels like they have three shortstops. It showed up last night. Xander Bogaerts with a beautiful play, turning a hit into a double play. Jonathan Scope going into the bullpen, making an outstanding play. They were Gold Glove in just about every position.
You could say the same for Chinese Taipei, turning 3 double plays behind Chin-Ming Wang. And as we get a look at their opening round effort against Australia, also very dominant. I think what we have to note here, though, is that Chin-Ming Wang used all his bullets. He's done. So where do they turn next if they want to advance?
Well, Chinese Taipei said that he really is the leader of their staff, and he really has taken a lot of pressure off Chinese Taipei by that pitching performance. He looked exactly like he did when he was the two-time 19-game winner with the New York Yankees in 06 and 07. A lot of sinkers generating a lot of ground balls. Really, in that process, having a very sharp defense that was really on its toes. They looked really complete defensively. And they also got a big home run from the 5-time hitting champ Peng for Chinese Taipei. And the big key today for Chinese Taipei is what type of starting pitching performance that they're going to be able to get out of their number 2 guy.
Now that we've seen all 4 teams, care to revise your prediction for this Pool B?
Well, Korea came in as the strongest, but to me, the Kingdom of the Netherlands looks like the best team at this point.
Well, it doesn't get any better than the sights and sounds here in Taichung. We'll let them wash over you as we count down the first pitch. Together 10 hits in the win over Korea last night, and felt like they probably should have had more than 5 runs.
Most definitely, and the situational hitting needs to be better.
Let's get a look at the starter. Wang Yaoling, 22-year-old right-hander, member of the Chicago Cubs organization and spent 2012 in Peoria.
Fastball in the low 90s, 92, 93, and one interesting dynamic about him is he has that change of speeds with his breaking ball and also the changeup. Woke up this morning, a bit of a cold, a little under the weather, so we'll see how that transpires this afternoon.
Defense for Chinese Taipei in their opening round game was flawless. In the outfield, Yang Daigong gets the start. Ling Zhengxuan in center field, Zhang Zhenming in right. Left to right across your infield, Chen Yongji is down at third base. Ling Zhisheng gets the start at shortstop. Guo Yanwen at second base, and Peng Zhengmin, who homered yesterday at the plate, is down at first base. Lin Hongyu, the starting catcher, to work with Wang. Wang got a start in the November qualifier that Chinese Taipei swept with 3 victories in New Taipei City. He worked 3 2/3 on that night, allowing 4 hits and 3 strikeouts. And Xie Chongheng managing his second World Baseball Classic, hoping for another quality start from his young right-hander.
And JB, I think it's really important to really have a sense of crispness that Chen-Ming Wang had in yesterday's game. He had that sinker attacking more in the middle of the plate, where he was throwing a lot of ground balls. His defense was sharp. It was a very crisp, well-played game, and as far as being able to execute his pitches, he has 65 of them to work with, and that's how huge that starting pitching performance yesterday out of Chen-Ming Wang was, because he was able to pitch through the 6th inning with that.
And really, we've seen this side be completely comfortable throughout now 2 rounds of the World Baseball Classic, yet to trail did not allow a run in November qualifying. That could change today against this lineup for the Netherlands, and they will get the first crack at it.
It'll be Andrelton, Simmons, and I'll just get this out there early. This is a fastball hitting bunch, which is why it's so important to get your breaking ball over early in the count, because they look to hit the heater.
Simmons ducks under that opening pitch. He was part of the offensive outpouring last night with 3 hits, 2 of them doubles. Went 3 for 5 and came around to score 2 runs as well. Finds the strike zone for the first time, and another great view of the crowd assembled here. Capacity in Taichung to see their home side.
Yeah, I already mentioned the great pitching performance by Wong yesterday, but really it did have that 10th man feel with another sellout crowd, another home type game for Chinese Taipei, and they played beautifully behind it.
Why not? Once again, grabbing the early lead. They're used to being in the driver's seat. Curious to see how they react if and when they get put on their heels.
They are fired up with the thunder sticks after every strike, after every out.
Interesting book on Simmons in the leadoff spot. Not described as a patient hitter necessarily, but does not strike out often. Gets frozen there by the fastball on the inside.
Wong kind of pitched him backwards a little bit to establish some breaking stuff early, and he's thinking 2 strikes, he might be getting 1, and it's really nothing more than a fastball down the middle of the plate. And sometimes even when you've got a guy who is dead red looking for the heater and in a breaking ball situation, just could not pull the trigger on one right down the middle.
His minor league numbers this season really backed that up. 82 strikeouts against just 27 walks in Peoria in the Midwest League.
And he was doing a lot of closing for Peoria, so it'll be interesting to see how he manages starting this game, because he's used to finishing it in the Cubs organization. And any good closer will tell you they rely on adrenaline. I think this crowd's going to give him a lot of that. And of course, he's pitching for his country as well. But it's just a different dynamic starting and then closing.
How about the fact that he woke up with that cold this morning? You ever make a great start with some sniffles?
Yeah, beware of the wounded bear. Did Harvey Haddix wake up with the flu and thought he was so sick he wasn't going to be able to go to the ballpark, and then ended up throwing, what, 13 no-hit innings?
That'll work. Won't see Wong get that far, as he'll be capped at 65 pitches, as will every arm here in round 1 of the World Baseball Classic. They've seen on that previous offering that Jonathan Scope knocked his own batting helmet off with the foul tip. Back and ready to go in the box here.
Yeah, and here's why the 65 pitches are really significant, especially going up against a lineup like the Netherlands that is top to bottom a fastball hitting lineup. That you want to be economical with your pitches. So normally most pitchers throw the pitch that they have the best command with, and that's the fastball. But with the Netherlands, you're going to have to spin it early.
Goes fastball there. This is down the right field line, slicing foul. And we'll redo 2-2.
That's something we've seen in the 2 previous games, is that, and the weather, is around the mid-50s. It's cool. It's not really what I would call, favoring the hitter. The ball does not carry very well, but if it does carry in one spot, it's pretty much to dead right field, to right down the right field line. That seems to be the one real sweet spot in the ballpark. But other than that, balls hit to left field and to center field really just don't seem to go anywhere.
'21-year-old Scope awaits the 2-2, looking for his first hit of this tournament after an 0 for 3 last night. Chases in the dirt. The catcher Lin Hong Yu down to first, 2 up, 2 down.
spinning that breaking ball right over the top and delivering it with such an over-the-top delivery that it has that straight down movement. And sometimes you get so over the top that it actually will break back a little bit, and an unusual look to be able to punch out scope there, expanding the strike zone with 2 strikes.
As Roger Bernardina digs in the 3 spot, we ask the question, who will back up the effort from Chien-Ming Wang on the hill for Chinese Taipei? Well, a good option is to go with right-handed arm with the same family name. Looks the same across the back of the jersey, and so far similar results.
A couple strikeouts already. Wang had 2 in yesterday's outing. Threw a lot of ground balls, but he's pitching with a good tempo, and I think with his fellow countryman Chien-Ming Wang with that starting performance yesterday went a long way to settle him down a bit. He looks sharp here in the early going, and that's one of the biggest challenges for a starting pitcher, is to get acclimated to the mound, get acclimated to that extra adrenaline of that hitter getting in there and just getting that release point in the first inning, which is why they say if you're going to get those good starters, get them early.
Behind in the count here, 2-0, and Bernardina sitting dead red. Thought he had his pitch. See the jackets and the hoods out, colder than anticipated. Temperatures here in Taiwan, 55 degrees at first pitch, and it feels colder than that with the wind chill.
And I was told it was a cold front coming in from Siberia, so that would make sense.
I think all cold fronts are from Siberia, to my knowledge.
One would think.
3 up, 3 down for the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Chinese Taipei coming to bat. A couple of changes in today's lineup for Chinese Taipei, and they come in the 7 and 8 spots as Zhang Zhenming gets a start in right field, and Lin Hongyu doing the catching and batting 8th. 3 lefties in the lineup to face the right-handed starter for the Dutch. His name, Tom Stauffbergen, to complete this battle of double-A arms.
Boy, they had a great starting pitching performance last night with their starting pitcher throwing 15 of 15 first pitch strikes, and Tom Stauffbergen no different. Pounds the strike zone, not particularly overpowering, and it's one thing that the Hall of Famer Bert Blyleven, who's been working as their pitching coach for the Kingdom of the Netherlands, has preached to his staff, is throw it over, get to that 0-1 situation where you can start dividing the plate in half.
The gloves behind him. Sam's in left, Bernardina in center, Ballantine in right. Bogart's another start at third, Simmons at short, Jonathan Scope plays second base, Kurt Smith down at first, and Dashenko Ricardo handles the catching duties.
Yeah, I spoke with Bert Blyleven this morning about his starting pitcher, Diego Marmarquel, and he was just as impressed about how he attacked the strike zone early, and of course in this format with the pitch counts being what they are, how important that is to do. 15 out of 15 first pitch strikes, and I would expect Tom Stauffbergen to do exactly the same thing. Not 15 out of 15, but really try to attack early.
I think the difference, and I'm sure you would agree, is that Chinese Taipei was aggressive with first pitches in their game against Australia, whereas the Koreans were content to sit back.
Great point. Something's got to give.
Don't you love it when they make your point for you?
Yep.
Yang Daikong retired. Simmons at shortstop.
And you're right, Chinese Taipei very aware of the format and, of course, scouting the Kingdom of the Netherlands and how they attack the strike zone. They will look to hack early, and already 1 pitch, 1 out.
Netherlands earned 16 ground ball outs in last night's contest, and they start this game in much the same way. Lin Zhe-Xuan, the center fielder, bats second. He was 2 for 3 with a run scored. Into center field. Bernardina camped underneath it. 2 up, 2 down. And so that'll bring Peng Jung-min to the plate to face Stauffbergen. He's made quick work of the first 2 Chinese Taipei hitters he's faced, and the Dutch staff had a little meeting with their pitching staff and catchers this morning about how to detail and go after this hitter right here with the opposite way, the home run over the right field wall.
And I tell you what's important to pitch him, JB, is to pound him in. He's not going to swing right there, that pitch. He's not going to swing at that pitch until he gets 2 strikes. He'll kind of give you a little of that Frank Thomas jackknife out of the way a little bit, which is another indication that he does not like it in there. So I think that's what the Netherlands recognizing, that this guy Pong is their best hitter, and he is looking for something middle away to drive the ball the other way, and he did it beautifully with the home run. So pitches on the inside part of the plate already well executed by Stouffberg.
Taking his time with this second offering. You think just trying to disrupt the hitter's rhythm? I mean, trying anything and everything to knock him off his game?
Pitchers are funny. They're peculiar. And
you don't say.
No. And the left-handers are even more weird.
The shortstop again. Simmons gobbles it up, and both starting pitchers earn 1, 2, 3 first frames. After our day 1 doubleheader, here's how they stand in Pool B. We're seeing the 2 teams at 1-0. Tomorrow, the 2 teams that took an early loss. And Joe, I think the takeaway here is that the teams at the top, their business not done. The teams at the bottom can still rally, but what a sizable difference their standing makes.
Yeah, it's definitely going to make things a lot tougher for Korea, who came in as the highest ranked team already with a loss. They can still find their way in the back door, but I think the winner of this game is definitely going to be going into the next round.
Neither team won in blowout fashion, but if and when run differential comes into play, I think both these teams will appreciate the fact that they took comfortable margins in their victories on day 1. That'll certainly help, as well as that single tally in the left-hand column.
Well, you're right. That is the tiebreaker. You want to try to put as many points as you can on the board, but this is the type of ballpark that is not necessarily, unless you just run into some awful pitching, it's not playing to real big innings, and that's what we've seen so far. And I think the reason that Korea fell flat yesterday were the errors which led to a lot of the scoring by the Netherlands.
Vladimir Valentin back in the box, 6'2", 220 pounds, and 28 years of age. Takes a fastball for a strike. Valentin, Home Baseball League's 2012 home run champion with the Tokyo Swallows. Major leagues in the States back in 2007. Parts of 3 big league seasons. Fishing out of the zone there, and he becomes a 3rd strikeout for Wong Yaoling.
Well, that's the idea. Get him to 2 strikes and get him to go fishing. And Wong Yaoling was able to spin the ball just off the outside corner. You have the catcher Lean setting well up outside, encouraging him to not miss towards the middle of the plate, and he didn't.
That'll bring Andrew Jones to the plate. Had a productive game 1 against South Korea, at least here in the box. 2 hits, including a double. On the bases, a little dicey, though. Thrown out at the plate, also called for interference on a collision near second base.
Does not have the wheels that he used to with the Atlanta Braves when he was probably the best center fielder in the game. Does not move as well, and the bat speed has slowed down a bit. He's going to be playing in the Japanese league, and it's a breaking ball heavy league, and that should serve him well. He's experienced enough to sit on breaking pitches in certain counts.
Wong moves his feet there on 1-0.
You know, we were talking about being able to spin the ball off the outside corner, and that really is the part about pitching. You know, you throw in and you pitch away, and being able to get the hitter to move his feet to go on the outside part of the plate makes that really look like a much further away pitch like that there. So even though it gets Andrew Jones to move his feet, makes him aware of the inside part of the plate, and he spins a breaking ball off the outer half, and it looks like it's that much further. And Andrew, just kind of talking to himself, knows that he helped the pitcher out.
2-1, bends in high. And speaking with Hensley Meulens, the Dutch manager, this morning about Andrew Jones, the mistakes he made on the base paths last night, he just pointed out how much different a player, and where he is in his life than he was in 2006 with the Dutch in the height of his major league career. He was 0 for 6 with a couple strikeouts that year, but his head just wasn't in this team in this event. This go around, he's asking about his teammates, checking in with them, wants to know strategy, and is more fully invested, I think.
Fully invested, and this is really important to the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And Hensley Meulens, first Major League Baseball player out of Curacao, part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, providing a lot of great leadership. And this is a real big deal to them, and it was in the last WBC in '09 when they beat the heavily favored Dominicans.
Jones down at first, becomes the first base runner. Xander Bogaerts, valuable bat to have in the 6th spot, playing third base for the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Looking for his first hit in this event, was 0 for 2 last night. Did reach on a walk. And on his hands, that's foul for strike 1.
Bogaerts, the #1 hitting prospect in the Red Sox organization. View him as the #1 athlete as well. Made some beautiful plays last night, and the Red Sox kind of in a bit of a retooling situation, which they haven't said in a long time. But speaking of long time, this is a guy that they figure to be in a Red Sox uniform for quite the long time.
Love the demeanor of the home side here. It's almost like when a basketball player is shooting a free throw in his home gym.
Right.
When their pitcher is on the mound, and the moment it goes through, they react in full force.
Yep, they are absolutely into it. And I think when you're thinking about World Baseball Classic, this is the type of vibe. This is what you would expect and really want to have for every game.
Even before he comes set, the crowd falling silent. How about another parallel? Peyton Manning working at the line of scrimmage on his home field. It's that kind of sensation here as you observe the crowd and the way they work in synchronicity with their pitcher, Wang Yaoling. Two just missed. Wang wanted it.
Be interesting to see about the sequence here. Andrew Jones does not run nearly as well as he used to if he's going to be running. And the last thing a hitter wants to do in a 3-2 count here is to take a called third, and sometimes they can go fishing on pitches a little outside the strike zone as they commit early.
Andrew Jones wasn't the only one to make mistakes on the base paths last night for the Dutch. If there was a fault to their game, that was it. They made an out at every base, didn't they?
They did, but they were able to overcome it with some good aggressive pitching. And sometimes hitting can erase a lot of mistakes, but I think against Chinese Taipei, which is a very sound fundamental team, that they won't be able to get away with that today.
Payoff pitch to Bogaerts with Jones running and back-to-back walks, and that'll allow us a chance to welcome in a new audience. We say hello to our friends in the States watching on MLB Network after watching Cuba take a 5-2 victory over Brazil and Japan. With Joe McGrain, I'm JB Long here in Taiwan. And this is a matchup of 1-0 teams in Pool B, both the Netherlands and Chinese Taipei notching opening day victories.
Now, speaking of Brazil, Barry Larkin, the Hall of Famer, is managing Team Brazil. And they've really had a good showing, although losing both games against Japan last night and, of course, today to Cuba. Two very strong teams, but a good showing by Team Brazil.
We're pointing out that with Chien-Ming Wang's start yesterday, so effective gobbling up 6 innings, he's the only pitcher out of commission today for Chinese Taipei. They have their full complement of arms besides Wang, and that means that this game they can play as aggressively as they want to, knowing that the winner is in very good position to advance to round 2.
And it just really underscores how well that Chien-Ming Wang threw yesterday, and all of a sudden everybody is on go.
Let's reintroduce the pitcher today for Chinese Taipei for our American audience. Wang Yaoling is on the hill, and he started with a couple of strikeouts, retired the first 4 Dutch batters he faced, but suddenly back-to-back walks to Jones and Bogaerts to put 2 on with 1 out.
And JB, I mentioned in last night's game, the Netherlands, Diego Marquardt threw 15 for 15 first pitch strikes. So far, Wang 0 for 7 in first pitch strikes, and that is what's really going to get the pitch count spent up very quickly.
It's the game within the game, isn't it, with this first round ceiling of 65 pitches, and you can see the body language. Don't need a translator to understand what the Chinese Taipei wants from their starter here.
Yeah, I think that means settle down.
The universal sign, right?
Yeah.
Curt Smith had a hit last night, an RBI, a walk, and a strikeout. Was 1 for 2. And a hitter's count here. Long and off speed to steal a strike.
Unusual, 2-0, runners on first and second and 1 out, throwing a curveball for a strike. But sometimes that's the pitch that can actually fix everything else, because you have to do more things right. You have to be out front with your release point and really finish it to spin it down in the strike zone. And sometimes that can get your fastball locked back in. If he throws a heater here, let's see where it goes.
Again, the bender, this one off the plate. They appeal down to first, and Cesar Valdez says no.
Kind of looked to me like Curt Smith went around there. You could see kind of the cup of the bat from that tight center field look.
On the hill for Wang, 3 consecutive 3-ball counts to Valentin, to Jones, Bogaerts, and now Smith. Again, a check swing from Smith. Again, an appeal.
Goodness.
And your reaction says it all.
First base umpire has to reassess what a check swing is. That was even more egregious than the other one. And it's not about whether he broke his wrists or whether the bat crossed the plate. That's in intent. But nonetheless, 3 walks in a row.
And it's not just the pitcher in you talking there, is it?
Nope.
It's the umpire. The umpire in you.
I mentioned right off the top that Wang Yaoling had, woke up not feeling well, had a bit of a cold, wasn't, at his best, and I think that's why the Chinese Taipei manager is going to make a move immediately.
Started beautifully, striking out 3 of the first 4 Dutch batters he faced, but his afternoon will be a short one. We'll introduce the new pitcher next. Back here at the Intercontinental Baseball Stadium, another capacity crowd to see Chinese Taipei in action. A matchup of 1-0 teams here in Pool B, and the new pitcher for Chinese Taipei, Pan Wei Luan. 30-year-old right-hander takes over for the starter Wang.
Very difficult situation to come in with the sacks jammed and 1 out. See good numbers there from last year. The guy can throw the ball over the plate. 25 strikeouts against 4 walks. Looking for that 1 pitch and for that double play to get him out.
He will face Gallian Sams, who took one off the elbow. And that'll result in the first run of the game for the Dutch and the first deficit of the 2013 World Baseball Classic for Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, it's difficult to come into the situation where you're pitching with the bases loaded. And oftentimes you're coming in a clean situation, but that one well off the charts.
How about this? After Ballantine struck out to lead off the second, a run produced without a hit for the Dutch. 3 straight walks and a hit batter.
Boy, now is a great opportunity for Ricardo to first ball hit, because you know that Pon wants to get right back to the strike zone. A great time to really jump on one.
Dutch put 21 base runners aboard in just 8 innings at the plate last night.
And Chinese Taipei just really has a fractured sense of rhythm, and I probably shouldn't even say the word rhythm, because there's not a lot of that coming from the pitching mound. Just a huge study in contrast as to what it was last night with Chien-Ming Wang.
Just torched their way through qualifying in November, winning those 3 games by a combined score of 35-0. 4-1 victors last night over Australia. See how the crowd reacts to seeing their home side trail for the first time.
Yeah, and meeting with Chinese Taipei, they talked about their pitching staff being young and a lot of changes being made to their pitching staff. And Chien-Ming Wang, with the experience and success that he's had at the major league level, really their leader, did a beautiful job of calming them down. But these 2 pitchers looking a little skittish.
Into center field, the first hit of the inning, and that will bring in 2 more for the Dutch. An RBI single for Dushenko Ricardo, and it's a 3-0 lead for the Netherlands.
Well, you end up falling behind in the count, and you can become much more aggressive and really zone the pitcher, and that's what Ricardo did. This is what's called just staying inside the baseball, and with that little bobble by the center fielder Lean, who was looking up prematurely, that allowed Sams to go to third base.
That's the 3rd hit of this event for Dushenko Ricardo. Now, was it me, or did I hear the Dutch coaching staff saying they weren't expecting much offense from their catching position? Just manage the staff, and any offense is gravy.
Absolutely, and he's provided a lot of gravy.
Thanksgiving helping, I'd say. A pair of hits last night and 2 RBI knock here.
You know, I mentioned last night about the Netherlands and just how, and even was getting the agreement and talking with Bert Blyleven, their pitching coach, is everyone that stands in the box has a presence about them, looking hitterish, like that they're prepared, they're confident, and they're ready to hunt for the fastball. See that swing there just on the foul ball? It looks like everything looks like it has purpose, that these Kingdom of the Netherlands hitters have a plan going up there, and that pitch is right on the outside corner, and that's a good aggressive hack.
Relton Simmons, who made his major league debut for the Braves last summer, projects as their starting shortstop and leadoff hitter, the role he's filling here for the Netherlands. Down the third base line, just foul and just missed the runner Sams.
That goes to what I was talking about. 2 foul balls, and you think, all right, no big deal, but 2 very good, confident passes through the hitting zone by Simmons.
And even if to the 19,000 in attendance here, that's just a foul ball, the pitcher observes it the same way you do, I'm sure.
Absolutely. There's a constant cat and mouse or back and forth about who is holding the cards of confidence.
Right now, I think the Dutch are flush. See if this changes things. Foul ball, back a second, the catch made. No movement on the base pass, and that's out number 2. Now that I see it, I don't think the score is going to impact the audience. to answer my own question.
Well,
from a few
they
minutes
brought
ago.
those thunder sticks to use them. I don't think that they're going to be sitting on their hands and not taking part in the fun.
Plus, it keeps them warm here on this 50-degree day in Taichung. 2 outs for the number 2 hitter. Jonathan Scope struck out his first time through. Feel for how the Chinese Taipei staff has labored through these first 2 innings. This is the first 0-1 count to any Dutch hitter. We're the second time through the order.
You know, I guess the only thing you could really say positive about how things are going right now for Chinese Taipei, that the Kingdom of the Netherlands played with such tempo and energy. You know, from the basketball metaphor, it almost may be like that they're putting them into the 4 corners for a little while.
Frame started innocently enough with Wong earning his 3rd strikeout in his first 4 batters, but then back-to-back walks. That brought on Pan, who responded by hitting Sams with his first pitch. That brought a run across, and then Ricardo made him pay with a 2 RBI hit. Broken bat right side, and Chinese Taipei must feel fortunate they escaped without any further damage. 3 runs on just 1 hit for the Netherlands. Kingdom of the Netherlands with a 3 spot in the second. They sent 8 to the plate, and now back to the hill. Their starter, Tom Stoufbergen, and he had some work done on the hill before he took his spot on the rubber.
Well, Chinese Taipei's already gone through 2 pitchers, and oftentimes they have their little idiosyncrasies about how they want the mound, digging out a lot of dirt, and the ground crew was out tamping more clay in front of the pitching rubber. Here's a guy who's only thrown 6 pitches and has already had to wait a long time to throw number 7. And will that have an effect, because he was sitting in the dugout a long time? Got his team off the field so quickly.
This game almost an hour old already, and he's now just working his 2nd frame. There's the cleanup hitter and the shortstop for Chinese Taipei, Lim Jie-shun. Look at what the footing conditions are like for Stoufbergen.
What you're thinking now as a starting pitcher, that you've really had the opposition, your hitters have had the opposition on the ropes. You want to get them back off the field as quickly as possible and really keep the heat on Chinese Taipei. They've been battling on the pitching mound so far. So you're looking for a quick, authoritative inning, much in the same way that he had in the first.
Not just megaphones, but true horns as well, Joe.
Yes, the woodwind and horn section. I saw a saxophone there. Clarinets, anyone?
From Stoufbergen, working quickly, and it runs all the way full.
Trying to make out that song. I know it's not on my iPod, but it does have a bit of familiarity to it.
Just don't record, it's copyrighted.
Yep.
Caught Stoufbergen nodding his head in rhythm with the chance. He's getting into it.
Well, that's what it's about. It's about pitching in rhythm, and Those Taiwanese fans trying to get the home team back into it.
Good battle with Lin Sheng here. And the hitter wins it. First hit of the game for Chinese Taipei.
Well, I almost had the feeling that it was a game winner there to the audience. And 3-2 count, not wanting to give in to the strike zone. And one thing we noticed about Lin Sheng from yesterday's game is he's probably the more predominant pull power hitter in their lineup.
So for the first time today, Staufbergen will have a runner aboard as he faces Zhou Siqi, 0 for 4 yesterday in game 1 against Australia. Left 4 runners aboard.
It's going to be interesting to see how this works going through the lineup the first time, because Staufbergen does not have overpowering stuff. His fastball is going to top out in the high 80s, so he's going to have to use all of his pitches, and of course in the process of doing that, get them over the plate and pitch in an environment that I'm pretty sure that he's never pitched in.
This is also the first left-handed batter in the Chinese Taipei order that he'll see. First of 3 before we get to the bottom.
And I think a lot of this has to do with the quick inning that he was able to have, and then he was in the bullpen getting loose, went out there and threw 6 pitches and sat for a while his team scored 3 runs. Obviously that was the benefit, but he was working very quickly, and it's tough to really reestablish that rhythm after you've been sitting for a long time.
3-1 now.
It's Robert Einhorn to the right of the manager, Hensley Mullins, who's been so instrumental in the growth of baseball in the Netherlands, establishing the academies for the Kingdom of the Netherlands.
Einhorn was at second base when Dwight Gooden threw his no-hitter for the Yankees in '96. Lin Sheng, the runner at first. The leadoff single. Zhou Siqi at the plate, and he takes a called strike 2.
Now second 3-2 count. Let's see what happens here. He grooved one to Lin, allowing him to reach first base the last time. See if he's able to make a pitch.
You don't sense strikeout stuff from him, do you, with all the foul balls we've seen in this inning?
Not overpowering, and in talking to Bert Blyleven, one thing that kept coming up in his view of him was strike thrower, and a big contrast in pitches here in the second.
An appeal down to third, and 2 aboard for Chinese Taipei.
These people are going crazy.
And why not? After falling behind 3-0, they quickly respond by bringing the tying run to the plate without making an out. Here are the men who are calling the balls and strikes and those outs. That's Barksdale, Cesar Valdez, Paul Emmel, and Kenjiro Mori. Having a bow up now with Lin Sheng at second, Zhou Siqi at first, and he will face the third baseman for Chinese Taipei, Chen Yongji. Chen Yongji drove in 6 runs during the November qualifier just up the road in New Taipei City. Here's your friend and fellow pitcher,
Best curveball ever, Bert Blyleven, and he has helped a lot of these Dutch pitchers with that pitch.
I found that interesting that in the short time he spends with them, I think the common assumption would be, well, he's not going to have enough time with them to disseminate all that knowledge, be able to teach it. But even a little tip here and there, something they can go work on, you think?
Yeah, Steve Jansen, the bullpen coach, has spent a lot more time with these pitchers, but Bert is fully invested in this. This really means a lot to him.
To right. Through a big reaction from the crowd, but relatively harmless as Ballantine brings it in. Tagging it, heading to third. Leanger Shung read it well, and they'll be there with one out.
I think what you have to be thinking on the hill now, JB, is you're going to trade a run for an out, and you don't want to let Chinese Taipei get the feeling that they can immediately jump right back in this. And the big thing about pitching and doing it well is we got to look at Bert Blyleven. It's about controlling momentum and staying out of the big inning.
Meanwhile, the challenge for Chinese Taipei and their number 7 hitter Zhang Zhenming here staying out of a double play. Stauffbergen able to get a couple of ground balls in his first inning of work, has yet to put the Chinese Taipei batters on the ground since. Point you've made several times since we've arrived here in Taiwan is the infield depth. Talented shortstops across the diamond for the Dutch could help their pitcher out of this one.
Well, they have designs on staying out of the big inning as well. The infield back looking for the double play. They certainly don't want to come in and reduce their reaction time. Stauffbergen, a pretty tall guy, around 6'3", more over the top with his delivery, and the release point, he's a little off balance to where he's missing on both sides of the plate, to where there's not some consistency.
On the ground but through the hole, and Chinese Taipei has their first tally.
Beautiful job of hitting, not being pulled conscious, and watching just let that sinker drift to the outside part of the plate and just ride right with it, perfectly finding the hole between third and short. A little bit of a chip away offense after Stauffbergen kind of opened the door a little bit for Chinese Taipei.
Of the first 4 for Chinese Taipei to bat here in the second inning have reached safely, setting up Lin Hong Yu, the catcher.
Be a good idea to spin one here and not throw a fastball.
We heard you, but left it up. On the right field line, Ballantine charging, making the catch in fair territory. No tag from the runners, and look at the arm from down that right field line.
Yeah, a little risky though, because he overthrew everyone, and there was not enough time for Stauffbergen to get over and back up third base. And if that throw is high, it could have some real consequences. Pretty good range by Ballantine going to his right. Thinking there might be a tag play, and when you're making that 360 wheel around, fortunate to get that somewhere close to third base to where that does not go by the third baseman.
Wo Yen Wen, a left-handed hitting second baseman, fooled on that first offering. This is where Chinese Taipei got a lot of production in their first outing. Their 8-9 spots yesterday went 3 for 8. Some out hit here could deliver another run. Quickly behind 0-2.
Yes, hit a couple of hitters ago. If Stauffbergen can get out with just one run, based on how things started, you have to feel very good about it.
Wo Yen Wen, an Olympian in 2008 for Chinese Taipei. Spent his last professional season in the CPBL here in Taiwan for the Lamigo Monkey. In an 0-2 hole and goes down swinging. Tom Staufbergen has to be pretty content allowing just one run.
Could have been ugly.
Well, if it's 58 here in Taiwan, pass me another jacket. I'm not feeling it. It's been that kind of weekend, but we've been able to play baseball on time despite some few rain showers. The wind consistently from that left field scoreboard, Joe.
And it has really affected the flight of the ball, everything blowing in from center field to left, and not too many home runs. And like I mentioned earlier, if there is a spot where you can sneak it into the stands, it's down pretty much the right field line to about 30 feet off that line.
Roger Bernardina lets another one go by. One way to beat the conditions. How about putting up 3 runs with only 1 ball leaving the infield, as the Kingdom did an inning ago. Everyone but this man came to bat for the Dutch. And he's sitting 3-0.
Han's got to start to getting the ball over the plate. And I had the feeling that when Chinese Taipei was swinging the bat, the crowd got back into it, and just 2 runs down. I mentioned so important for that guy on the hill to control momentum. They started to garner a little bit of it offensively. Just kind of quiet the game down. Freeze the Dutch bats a bit.
Has played parts of 5 major league seasons, and in his last 3, 90 plus in each of them. It's a good swing on that one, but didn't catch it all. Yang Dai-gong brings it in. In the pan of the outfield and a view of the stadium dimensions. 325 down the left field line, 400 to straightaway center, and that right field corner where we've seen the jet stream also at 325.
Yeah, you see those dimensions, but as I said earlier, the park's been playing a lot bigger than that.
Thanks for doing those metric conversions for me as well. I appreciate that handiwork.
Not my strength.
Ball laid in at 86 for strike 1 as he jumps ahead. Vladimir Valentin struck out back in the 2nd inning before his team rallied for that 3 spots.
Oh, that was a good pitch. You can tell by the reaction of Pan, he thought that was a strike. Lance Barksdale, a major league umpire, eyeballing that one, and that was a good pitch.
Sounded like a broken bat to shorts. Lin Jia-sheng has out number 2.
Much better, 2 quick outs. Chinese Taipei feeling they have a little offensive momentum, wanting to get Staufgarden right back on the hill. Staufbergen, I should say.
Nice run of major leaguers here in the heart of the Dutch lineup. Bernardina, Valentin, who has some big league history, and of course a familiar face to fans of Major League Baseball in the States, Andrew Jones, the designated hitter. Wasn't his most productive big league season in 2012, but he's going to try his hand in Japan this go round.
Well, he had a look like he was hunting for the breaking ball. That sometimes hitters, and especially a guy like Andrew Jones, who's hit 474 big league home runs, will go up there just looking for one pitch. There was the hook, and he didn't get it. Wouldn't call this a traditional curveball, but kind of a little baby slider.
Two to Jones. Pretty incredible, isn't it, that he's been on our baseball radar now for almost 2 decades worth after signing with the Braves at the age of 16. Youngest player to hit 2 home runs in a World Series at the age of 19.
Yeah, it just gives you that feeling that he has been around forever.
He was one of those players where you didn't think you'd ever see the day where he'd give up his spot in center field to be the designated hitter.
Well, especially as instinctively as he played it. Bobby Cox said he's the best center fielder he ever saw, and always played a very shallow center field and just kind of a glider in the outfield. And I think at times gave the impression where it didn't look like he was running very hard, and there were some times where he drew the ire of Bobby Cox, but it turned him into one heck of a ball player who had a outstanding major league career.
Draws a walk, also part of that outstanding Curacao pipeline that you've referenced now, talking about his manager Hensley Meulens, but Jones a big part of it as well. Curacao part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands that we referred to, and 12 players on this roster of 28 hail from that island of just about 140,000 people.
Boy, and you were telling a story the other day and how Hensley Meulens had told us how he basically accidentally discovered baseball on a soccer field.
Coming off a World Series run with the San Francisco Giants.
Hensley is the current hitting coach of the San Francisco Giants. They've won the World Series 2 out of the last 3 years. So you may be wondering, why would the Giants during spring training let their hitting coach, with so many hitters to work with, go manage the WBC? It seems like they feel like they're in a pretty good spot.
Of course, they've got it figured out. They'll do whatever he wants. They just won a World Series. They're good. Talking about my hometown San Francisco Giants there.
Yeah, Pons had some difficulty with the calls of Lance Barksdale, and I mean, that looks like threading the needle pretty well and not getting the pitch. He's had 3 pitches in this inning that he thought were strikes that weren't called.
Lost Andruw Jones at 3-2, but baseball gods return it to him on that liner to second base. Gear up for the 2013 World Baseball Classic at the online shop of the WBC. Browse the largest online selection of official merchandise. It includes authentic jerseys, caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Don't wait in line. Just visit worldbaseballclassic.com on your computer, tablet, or smartphone and get your WBC gear straight from the source. worldbaseballclassic.com. Shop. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Tom Staufbergen on for another frame of work, and he will face the top of the Chinese Taipei order.
It's going to be a challenge for Staufbergen, who was real loose in the 2nd inning. Had some pitches get away from him like that, where the release point was off, just kind of cut it off a little bit. So it's going to be a challenge facing the top of this Chinese Taipei order.
The Pacific League All-Stars with the Nippon Ham Fighters. The key addition since we saw this Chinese Taipei Federation in November in qualifying. A couple of bats at the top of their order, but most importantly, as we've seen, the arms on the front end of their staff. Chen-Min Wong carrying them to victory on day 1 here in Taichung. Staufbergen went right through the top of the Chinese Taipei order in the first, a 1-2-3 frame. Turned it over here in the 3rd. Leadoff hitter retired 6-3 in the first, 4-3 here in the 3rd. Manager Xie Chang-hung.
Got a lot of experience pitching, and he was a pitching coach, a fine pitcher himself, now managing the Chinese Taipei national team.
How about this? He started and won the championship game of the '77 Little League World Series during Chinese Taipei's run of 10 in a row. Dominated a decade.
Pretty good resume.
Valentin is out number 2.
Just the kind of inning that Stoffbergen wants to have, just to settle himself down after things kind of got away from him in the second inning. 2 quick outs, trying to reestablish that command.
See Valentin talking to his center fielder Bernardino there. How do outfielders like this kind of gray afternoon sky? See a ball, especially with the lights in full effect. Not quite the tomahawk chop. How about the Taichung chop? Can we go with that?
Yeah, I think that works.
Down to third and flagged by Bogarts, the converted shortstop, doing work.
Boy, that is something.
Another 1-2-3 frame for the starter from the Dutch side, Tom Stoufbergen. 3 innings gone by. It's a 3-1 lead for the Netherlands here in Taiwan, and a capacity crowd once again at Intercontinental Baseball Stadium for Pool B in first round action in the 2013 World Baseball Classic. Team Netherlands will send 7, 8, 9 to the plate in their half of the 4th inning. As we've kind of settled in here, Joe McGrain, do you get the sense that 3 is going to stand up, or will they be looking to tack on?
No, and you know, I'd mentioned earlier that the ballpark has really favored the pitchers and definitely the conditions as well. I think so far Chinese Taipei's pitching is really yet to settle in, and was so impressed by the Netherlands lineup last night. I think Chinese Taipei's pitching is really going to have to lock it down and start throwing a lot more first pitch strikes. You just get the feeling that the Netherlands are just ready to break out, have another breakout inning. And it's not like the inning in which they scored 3 runs and the second was a breakout inning.
Not by any stretch of the imagination. Scored those 3 runs on just 1 hit, just 1 ball out of the infield in that frame. Kurt Smith all over it, just didn't connect. And hit the batter's eye out there in center field in batting practice the other day. Just missed that one. So here's Gallion Sams, 0 for 4 in his WBC debut yesterday, but was hit by the first pitch. That Pond came into the game and threw, and that forced in a run in the previous inning.
And you saw earlier Hensley Mulin's looking at his lineup card like he was thinking about getting ready to make a pitching change. Stoufbergen hasn't exactly been stellar, and there does appear to be some activity in the Dutch bullpen.
Both these teams have a full complement of arms available. We mentioned no one other than Chien-Ming Wang throwing his allotted pitch count yesterday for Chinese Taipei. Markwell exhausted his, but Intema is out today. Everyone else available for the Dutch.
And of course the importance of today's game, because you get the feeling that whoever wins this game is going to advance to the next round.
Shai Martis getting ready down in the Netherlands bullpen. He of no-hitter fame. Back in the 2006 World Baseball Classic, took care of Panama in a run rule game. Proved to be the only victory of the tournament for the Kingdom of the Netherlands, but they continued to build on that success.
Well, they had one of the most talked about wins in the last WBC, defeating the Dominicans, upsetting Korea last night.
And Shung takes care of that at shortstop. Sam still looking for his first hit of this event. He'll leave it for the 9-hitter, Dashenko Ricardo, the catcher, who has 3 hits in the event. Ricardo spent 6 years in the American minor league system before he was released by the Giants this offseason, but with the hitting coach of those San Francisco Giants right there in the center of your screen, well aware of what he can bring to this roster. Newly minted 23-year-old down to third. And Chinese Taipei answers a 1-2-3 frame by the Dutch staff with one of their own. Middle of the 4th, it's a 3-1 lead for the Netherlands. They're calling their shot here in Taichung as their cleanup hitter gets set to dig in. But before he does, moments ago, as the Chinese Taipei side came off the field defensively, Joe, what'd you see?
Well, you know, you see the players-only meetings in the major leagues in the clubhouse, and they're having one right here in the middle of the game, trying to get everyone together, down by 2 runs, and it looked to be Yang Daigong, the left fielder, trying to get everyone together, and maybe his timing is right because he has one of the best hitters coming to the plate, with Lin having outstanding pull power. And you can see him with his hat off and the glasses there, you know, contributing to that meeting. And just say, hey, let's go, guys. And it looks like the crowd was calling their shot and responding. A little stuff you don't often see in Major League Baseball, but different and interesting nonetheless.
Heading in the right direction in terms of the power alley here in Taiwan, but that'll get out of play. And I think your point is valid that it's always best to call a players-only meeting before you send your ace to the hill or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly when you do it. A lot of the old Baltimore Orioles said when Earl Weaver used to call meetings, it was when Jim Palmer was going to the hill, and they'd win a game and said, see, I fired everybody up. And Jim Palmer went out there and threw 9 innings of 1-run baseball.
The home run they were calling for, but they'll settle for a leadoff walk, and Joe Suchi will bat with the runner aboard.
You know, as we were setting that up and you were talking about coming out of break, the fans obviously sensing that meeting out in front of Chinese Taipei's dugout seem to have pumped up the volume a little bit, and Tom Staufbergen has not exactly been stellar, although with 50 pitches has not really settled into a rhythm, has not been sharp. So there is hope for Chinese Taipei in this inning.
Martis has had plenty of time to be ready down to the bullpen. Are you surprised in any way that Staufbergen was allowed to start this frame, much less continue it after a leadoff walk?
Well, no limitations on pitching, and really just believing in his ability to throw strikes. And both Hensley Mullins and, of course, the Hall of Famer Bert Blyleven have really kind of given the Kingdom of the Netherlands just a feeling of calmness and, you know, quiet leadership and trust that they can get out of, you know, little skirmishes, but they've got a guy ready just in case, based on the importance of this game. This might be Staufbergen's last hitter. If Joe is to reach.
And he's got a good chance with that swing, but attempting to take it away was Ballantine. It gets to the wall. Shung had to wait to see if it fell, so he stops at third.
Well, I guess that's the secret. More meetings. Chinese Taipei has responded. Looked like Ballantine, he kind of circled the wagons, kind of came around that a little bit. He was expecting the ball to carry, and we talked about how the ballpark, the ball is not really flying, into the alleys. Sometimes you have the sense how the ball comes off the bat, and how you hear it, you think it's going to go farther.
Not sure what to make of Stouffbergen's afternoon. Had a very quick first, just 6 pitches to go 1, 2, 3.
Inconsistent, JB, I think is probably a pretty good way of looking at it. Fortunate to be leading 3-1, and Big Bert is going to stay with him.
Faced 6 batters and allowed a run in the 2nd inning, then a clean 3rd, another 1, 2, 3 frame.
And I think that says a couple of things. That one, it's here early, but also feeling that Stouffbergen represents a better shot than the guy that they've got out there in the bullpen, because this would be a time to go get him.
Chen Yongji takes a called strike 1.
Based on the importance of this game, I certainly wouldn't be waiting around for Chinese Taipei to tie it before you would make a move. And that can happen with one swing.
Chen Yongji delivers. 1 run will score. They'll put the brakes on at 3rd. Chen down to 2nd with the throw. It's a 3-2 game.
Bad mental error there. No chance to get the runner at the plate and overthrowing the cutoff man, and Chen doing a good job. Ballantine's throw doing a great job of reading the trajectory of the throw. No hesitation. You see him at the top of your screen going all the way into 2nd base, and as this is not really favoring the hitter, 90 more feet, huge for Chinese Taipei, and by that high throw he can go into 2nd base.
First 3 reach for Chinese Taipei in the 4th, already 1 across, and Stouffbergen continues, maybe just to allow the intentional pass. John Jen-Ming will get it to load the bases.
They're just trying to do what they can to stay out of a big inning and set up a force at every base. You certainly don't want, if you're going to make a move, to have a guy come out of the bullpen and intentionally walk someone. But they are sticking with Stouffbergen here, it appears, in this situation. It's a lot of trust.
Born in the Netherlands, signed with the Twins in 2006. Ascended all the way to AAA, but a bad ankle injury last year derailed that ascent just a bit.
Of course, there's a lot of things going on with this decision. We talked about it right off the top, that the team that wins the game today pretty much assures that they're going to advance into the next round.
And that hit him. Sounded like it got the knob as well, and that's what Stouffbergen's trying to argue.
I think he's arguing that he made no attempt to get out of the way of the ball. He's just kind of melting down right now, and you watch this pitch just kind of fade in, and because of that fade, it's difficult for him to get out of the way, and that's Stoughbergen's contention. You see a lot of that movement going in. There's no way that he can get out of the way of that.
He will leave with the game tied. Shai Martis inherits a bases loaded situation and no outs. Welcome back to the World Baseball Classic. Shai Martis, at 25 years of age, the right-hander inherits a bases loaded situation. Nobody out, and what was once a 3-0 lead is now a tie game.
He's going to have to come in and command the strike zone immediately, and you saw the high earned run average from his numbers with the Minnesota Twins organization. And a very prickly situation to have to inherit.
You mentioned previously he threw the first no-hitter in WBC history against Panama in '06 when he was just 18 years of age. His defense behind him turned a double play on his 65th and final pitch to make it happen. They're at double play depth here as he throws his first. Hit hard to right center field. This one will hang up for the catch from Bernardina. A run will score, and Chinese Taipei takes the lead.
Boy, a real productive out. Not only does it drive in a run, but it moves another runner 90 feet closer to third base.
Nothing deficit was the first that Chinese Taipei had faced in this 2013 World Baseball Classic, and that included 3 games in New Taipei City in November qualifying. Back on the high side here, bottom 4. And they turn the lineup over with Yang Daigong.
And he seemed to be a participant in that meeting to start this inning, right in front of the Chinese Taipei dugout.
Here, the going rate for motivational speaking is pretty good. You might want to consider it. Go for 2 on the day. Time to let his bat do the talking. The center struck well, but does not carry to that part of the yard. Into the teeth of the wind. Another productive out. Another sac fly. It's 5-3 Chinese Taipei. The first 4 reach here in the 4th. All 4 have come around to score in this bottom 4 rally. Eighth batter for this Taiwanese side to bat here in the 4th. Lin Jia-Schwen takes ball 1.
Well, quite a reversal of fortune for the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Up 3-0. 5 unanswered runs.
Schwen calls time. Former signee of the Boston Red Sox back in 2007. A year later was the 2008 Futures Game MVP at All-Star Weekend. He's in front 3-0.
There's the 10th man at work.
Chinese finally finds his zone, 3-1. To right, and this should do it for the 4th. But not before. Chinese Taipei strikes for 4 runs in the frame, and they've taken a 2-run advantage. Chinese Taipei hoping to advance to the 2nd round in Tokyo. We're not ready to go there just yet, but we will go to Japan for our next game here in the 2013 World Baseball Classic. China and that host nation and the 2-time defending champs. Check your local listings for the start time in your area, and then we'll be back here in Taichung for the 2 teams that had today off, Korea and Australia. Our next game in Taiwan.
Yeah, just for some perspective here, JB, it's going to be interesting with the top of the order for the Netherlands, how Pan is able to negotiate through this lineup. He hasn't really locked anything down. It's been more about Kingdom of the Netherlands pitching just kind of melting down a bit, and I thought one of their real strengths was the lineup and their hitting. So I think the top of the order, this is going to be an interesting inning for the Netherlands.
Ripped to left. Yang Dae-gong charging back in the wing, kept it in.
Just as we had mentioned earlier, how big the ballpark is playing. Very cool outside with the wind just galing in. On a calm day, that ball is easily out of the ballpark, but that's exactly where the wind is coming from. Just knocked it straight down.
That'll do it.
That's like Wrigley Field in April.
Winds gusting in at 20 miles per hour at first pitch, have not let up. If anything, they've increased. Taking a home run away from Simmons there. And Jonathan Scope next. He puts it on the ground. Chen Yong-ji takes care of it. A little moisture in the air, misting here in the late afternoon hours. Nothing a towel over the shoulders can't fix. It's a good look for Robert.
Yep.
Roger Bernardina 0 for 2 as he digs in. 3rd trip through the lineup, but to your point previously, 2nd look at Pan Wei Luan out of the bullpen.
Does not appear to be one of those stuff guys, and he has to really mix up his pitches, and he has not really settled into where I would say he has really commanded the situation, and very fortunate with the wind blowing in. Really knocked down what would have been a home run from Simmons to lead off the inning.
Just fouled down the first base line. Situation back in the States for Roger Bernardina under Nats control through 2015, but of course they went out and got Denard Span to lead off and play center field alongside Bryce Harper and Jason Worth. How does Bernardina fit in?
Well, that's going to be a tough outfield to crack, because that is a solid outfield right there, and obviously as great as Bryce Harper has been, he's only going to get better. Jason Worth covers a lot of ground out there as well, and Denard Span, an outstanding center fielder.
As far as capable 4th outfielders go, not bad to see him playing center field here after hitting .291 a season ago, and got a little bit of a choke job going on there in the left-handed batter's box. Top of the order goes quickly here in the 5th. Pan Wei Luan sets him down 1-2-3. The Taiwanese wave and this entire copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the World Baseball Classic, Inc. and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. To the home half of the fifth, and leading off, Peng Jung-min, 0 for 2 today.
Mentioned earlier, the way you have to go after him is attack him on the inside part of the plate. He is looking to drive something the other way. Already a home run yesterday right down the line to right field. Tremendous opposite field power.
I believe you're able to see at home there. The light mist has become a heavy mist.
Just another element to keep the ball from carrying.
Peng Jung-min, the only hitter for Chinese Taipei who was not a part of that 4-run fourth inning. One side sent 8 to the plate. The first 4 reached, the first 4 scored.
See, that's the pitch, not far off the inside part of the plate, but he wants no part of it. Going back in there again.
And hit hard. Smashed to left, but again, nothing going in that direction.
Well, that's where you're fortunate. You try to go on the inside part of the plate, and it drifts more towards the middle. But that is really the deepest part of the park. The way the wind is blowing in, you have the mist in the air as well. This would probably be, I would think, the only guy on either team that would have a chance to hit the ball out of left field.
True pull power hitter.
Yep. And he would have to really lean on one, pardon the expression.
Of the 13 outs made by Chinese Taipei so far have been through the air.
I think it really tells you when you're on the hill that the park is playing big. You go after these hitters, not so concerned about having the ball go over the fence. I mentioned Wrigley Field earlier. When the wind's blowing in, it can play as the biggest ballpark in the major leagues, and when it's blowing out, it's obviously can play as the smallest. The ballpark is really playing big right now.
All the more inexcusable for the respective pitching staffs that they've allowed big run innings that have been in part due to multiple walks and hit batters. Chinese Taipei rally in the fourth involved a couple of hits, but just one in the Netherlands 3-run second inning. Two down, it's Zhou Shiqi.
Sounds like the home crowd knows his name as well.
The chant is not generic, it is player specific, although it has a familiar rhythm, regardless of who's in the box. Potentially another fly ball out here, and it will end the fifth inning. Shai Martis has retired all 6 he's faced, but it's still 5-3 Chinese Taipei, and we're getting hungry. Our march of 39 games continues on WorldBaseballClassic.com. China-Japan will be next here in the 2013 World Baseball Classic. In Taichung, our next game features 2 teams that had the day off, Korea and Australia, back here on Monday. Both those teams 0-1 as we begin the 6th inning. It's not an elimination game tomorrow, Joe, but I'm going to go ahead and call it a must-win.
I think you're right on top of it.
That's the first time you said that all week.
Come on now.
I'm not blaming you for it. It's me.
Ballantine staring down Pan Wei-Wan. Certainly don't know why. What's wrong with throwing an off-speed pitch? I think he wants him to move the rosin bag back a little bit. But it's not like he has really locked down these couple of innings that he has pitched. But the Netherlands have not been able to score.
That was his 53rd pitch. Again, the ceiling for all arms here in the first round is 65.
You look at the line, the numbers, they look good, but it's been a lot of good swings, and he's kind of wiggled out of some situations. Hanging a breaking ball, getting away with one there, and I think a lot of it having to do with how the ballpark is playing. It is playing in big time favor to the pitchers, and you're smart to use that experience. Attack the hitter in the strike zone, let him hit it in the air, not worrying about the fact that it's going to leave the yard.
Ballantine may have broken his back. A little flare behind second. And to your point, I think in that sense the score is a bit misleading in that teams have only combined for 5 hits, and the Netherlands has just 1, and their 9-hitter has it. The top 8 spots in the order over. Mentioned that game coming up tomorrow here in Taiwan between a couple of 0-1 teams. Here's how they stand right now in Japan, with Cuba and the 2-time defending champions at 1-0. Brazil has taken a couple of losses, and China, as we pointed out, set to make their pool debut.
Brazil, with those 2 losses against Cuba and Japan, have really played well in those 2 losses, which I think is a surprise.
Oh, still loose and finally falls in the on-deck circle. Lean had a couple of chances to send Andrew Jones back to the dugout.
Yeah, this is quite the juggling act. Let's see how many times you can count that he makes contact and it comes out of his glove. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. That might be a record.
I know catchers beat themselves up over drop third strikes. I'm sure that one hurts. Andrew Jones had a swing that had ill intentions, trying to make him pay for the extra chance. What would you say to a catcher who dropped 5 pop flies and cost you an out? Or do you need to tell me during the next commercial break?
Let's say, hey, is that 5 errors or what?
Jones going up in the zone to send that one to center, and a sliding catch by Lin Just-Xuan.
Andre Jones with that patented tomahawk swing, the longtime Atlanta Brave, has a little bit of top spin on it, and outfielders by design going into that slide to get underneath the ball to have better body control, and well done by Lin.
So 2 outs for third baseman Bogaerts. Walked and scored in the second, then sent a liner to second base in the third, and has to dance out of the way of the first pitch from Pan.
You know, with the pitching coach coming out here to talk to Pan, we haven't talked about it much in this game, although it has been a theme with a lot of the Asian pitchers saying that they have had difficulty throwing with this baseball. It does feel more slick. It does feel like the seams are different from the baseball that they're used to throwing with. Was not the problem for Chinese Taipei's Chien-Ming Wang yesterday, who has had obviously a long history and a 2-time 19-game winner in the major leagues. But this would be, you know, the type of day with a lot of mist and a very cool day. And if you're throwing a lot of breaking pitches, just in any normal situation with a ball you may like, it still is difficult.
So there your on-screen score, 59 pitches, approaching his 65 count ceiling as he works with 2 outs and a 1-0 count to Bogaerts. Got in on his hands. A productive mound visit and a productive bullpen for Chinese Taipei and the Netherlands. They've now combined to work 7 innings of one-hit baseball. Chinese Taipei scored 4 of their 5 runs and built their advantage with a little bit of a team meeting to start the 4th, and then a big rally. 4 tallies on just 2 hits. An inning that included a couple of walks, one of them intentional, a hit batter. And finally, the Chinese Taipei also cashed in with 2 sac fly, and that's how they got to this point, on top by 2 as they bat in the 6th. Joe McGrain, JB Long, glad you're with us for World Classic Baseball here in Taichung. 1-0 pitch to short, Simmons. High to first, and he's safe. Batters, let's continue our game recap. We talked about the big 4th for Chinese Taipei. The Netherlands unable to cash in at the top of their potent lineup. Tonight 0 for 12 with 3 punches.
You know, really, in taking a look at it on both sides of the ball for Taipei and the Netherlands, their starting pitching just kind of melted down in 1 inning, where the plate started bouncing around, and now Martis going to have to pitch around in air here. And smart by Chinese Taipei, working towards the bottom part of the order, trying to sacrifice, play for another run, another tack-on run as big as the ballpark is playing right now. 2-run cushion, 3 seems like a whole lot more than 2.
Bunt is perfect down the third base line. Only play at first, and Bogaerts takes it. Effective sacrifice for Zhang Zhenming, who did not play yesterday, but Chia Chung-hung playing that outfield card today.
Could get to a point to where there has been a lot of mist here in the last 10 to 15 minutes where the ball could be difficult to throw. Not for Bogaerts there, although it was for Simmons with his throw with Chen going down the line, pulling the first baseman off the base.
Here's Ling Hongyu, 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter with a walk yesterday. Flew out in the 2nd inning, was hit by a pitch in the 4th. Check the runner at 2nd and back safely, Chen Yongji.
Sometimes that can get you a little extra mileage by keeping that runner honest at 2nd base, forcing him to shorten his lead. If you have a hard hit ball in the outfield, the fact that he shortens that lead gives him an opportunity to nail him at the plate. And with the ballpark playing, pretty big, it gives the outfielders the luxury of playing a little more shallow because the ball is not carrying that well at all. Cool afternoon, mist in the air, and the wind galing in from center and left field.
Lin Hongyu calls time. He's had a productive start to his professional career. 309, 3 seasons in the CPBL, but the World Baseball Classic here in 2013 has not been productive at the plate thus far. Was 0 for 8 in qualifying in November. 0 for 1 here today. Another check at 2nd. This is the home of the Bulls in the CPBL. Several of these players on the Chinese Taipei roster familiar with their surroundings. There's a rocket to center field, chasing Bernardina back, and it will hop the fence, and the lead swells to 6-3.
Bolt. That's the hardest hit ball we've seen in this round robin tournament. Previously talked about how much the wind had been galing in from center and left field, short hopping the center field fence 400 feet away. That was killed.
And Chinese Taipei not satisfied with just the one tack on. They're going for the throat here. Going to pinch hit in the 9 spots. Bring in a lefty to face Martis. Lini Chuen gets the call. He'll bat with 1 out and a runner at second. Down the left field line. He should get into the seats. Some squid on the grill for you, Joe.
You know, I was just thinking I could really go for some barbecued squid at this point.
Well, calamari, why not? I just figured that's where you went between innings.
Yeah, that is.
You caught a whiff.
That's ballpark food extraordinaire right there.
Hong Yu with the RBI double. Down at second base, Lini Chuen, the pinch hitter, was 0 for 2 yesterday. His first plate appearance of the afternoon. Sams has this one in left field. 2 outs, and the runner remains at second base.
Now, is that the stinky tofu or the regular tofu? That is the stinky tofu, and it is well loved here in Taiwan, but I was told not to try it.
You've been here 4 days and you're already distinguishing between your tofu?
Very discerning palate.
Top of the order with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. Yang Daigong again going after the first pitch and coming up empty.
We're seeing all these shots of food here at the ballpark. I think really is speaking to the inner stomach of our producer, Sparky.
Deep drive to right. The ball carries to that part of the yard, and a 2-out, 2-run home run. Yang Daigong.
Well, I said I thought this ballpark was playing big, and Chinese Taipei looking at awful small here in this inning. That's where the ball carries the best to right field. One of those, you gotta be kidding me.
Keep in mind that Martis came into this frame having retired all 6 that he had faced. Didn't help his cause when Andrelton Simmons committed the error at shortstop to begin the frame. The unearned runs coming around to score, and it's 8-3 Chinese Taipei.
Since Chinese Taipei had that little team meeting right in front of their dugout at the top of the 4th, they have absolutely gotten after it.
And it was Yang Daigong leading that meeting. He had a sac fly RBI in the 4th. Now that 2-run bomb down the right field line. I'm going to invite him into our booth tomorrow, give us a pep talk before we talk about the next game here in Taiwan. Koreans and the Aussies hoping to give themselves a shot in this pool. Right now, the home side looks like the cream of the crop. frustrating frame for Shai Martis. His team cost him with an error, and Ya Dai Gong capitalizing with an opposite field home run. Wang Qingming is the new pitcher for Chinese Taipei. He inherits 1 out and 2 aboard and will face the top of the Kingdom of the Netherlands lineup.
Good reliever coming out of the CPBL. First pitcher in CPBL history to have 10 wins and 10 holds in a single season. That was back in 2011.
The runners are second, Smith, first base, Ricardo, both reached on walks. Good velo on that first pitch fastball for strike 1.
Nice firm fastball, popping the mitt.
And Andrelton Simmons, 3 hits last night, 3 outs so far today. Right now, Simmons trying to make amends at the plate for his error defensively in the bottom half of the inning. That contributed to a 3-run frame for Chinese Taipei, and known for being a great fielder with soft hands and a strong arm. Had just 3 errors and 228 defensive chances last year at the major league level with the Braves. Lets the 1-1 go by for ball 2 in the dirt.
Well, I'd already mentioned how big the ballpark is playing, and suddenly Chinese Taipei in the last inning, they had a big blow up of runs, and Kingdom of the Netherlands can really take advantage here. They can find themselves, mentally right back in it.
To shortstop. Out number 1, the relay to first, rack him up, an inning-ending double play. Wang Qingming comes out of the pen to shut down the threats. 8-3 Chinese Taipei. They're out hitting the Netherlands 6-1. And as we take a look at their in-game box, really getting it from all sources with the exception of the 2-3 spots.
Of course, that's one of the best hitters in their lineup in Peng, who is coming to the plate right now.
Hensley Mullins making some in-game and dugout adjustments. His team just 1 hit. What we thought was the most capable lineup in this pool, and still very well may be, but so far stifled by largely the bullpen of Chinese Taipei after a rocky start by Wang.
Yeah, they've had some melting down with their relief corps, and we said right off the top that Netherlands has an outstanding fastball hitting lineup, and you do have to give Chinese Taipei a lot of credit because they have been largely able to get their breaking pitches over the plate and in essence neutralizing a very formidable lineup, and also stringing at bats together at times when the Netherlands have had a difficult time throwing the ball over the dish.
Peng had the home run to the opposite field yesterday in a 3-1 count. He sends a mole burner to third for out number 1.
Well, Xander Bogaerts has looked sensational in the 2 games we've seen him over at third base. The Red Sox have designs on him being at short, and the band is starting to loosen up.
Strike them up. They've got some time to play a tune while we change pitchers here in Taiwan. We saw the 18-year-old future of the Chinese Taipei side, and now the 19-year-old for the Dutch, Jonathan Isenia, youngest member of their staff.
Last year, his first season in professional baseball. They just don't even go down there for an appeal anymore.
All checks are good checks down at first with Cesar Valdez.
You saw the reaction of Robert Einhorn. Check your eyes. That wasn't a check swing.
Isenia able to build a 2-strike count nonetheless.
Striking up the band. They ought to play Misty for me, because that's exactly what the weather's like right now.
Has Bert's posture or face or anything changed in the last 2 hours?
He's old school. He's seen a lot of games just like this.
Make a great century. Popped up right side. And that'll get to the seats. Lin Zhisheng, a Chinese Taipei lifer, his experience dating back to the '97 World Youth Championships. Don't forget to tip the musicians on your way out, Joe.
A lot of trumpets playing in a bunch of different directions.
Is that youngster on the left there plugging his ears?
I don't think that's one of his favorites.
Plenty of good seats available in the outfield if he cares to change location. Nice 1-2 pitch there by Isenia, the 19-year-old. Strikes out the cleanup hitter.
Set up by a couple of good fastballs in, and a breaking ball sweeping off the outside corner. Lean, a predominant pull hitter. Well out in front. Nifty breaker.
So with 2 outs, Joe Sachi, first pitch swinging. Bogart's back a third. Reaches back to make the catch.
He is some kind of athlete.
Let's go to the 8th. It's 8-3 Chinese Taipei. Coming up within the hour, the next game of our World Baseball Classic. China makes its first appearance of this 2013 edition against the 2-time defending Japanese side. And then back here tomorrow for Korea and Australia. Both had the day off today in Taiwan. Both are 0-1 in Pool B competition and will face a virtual must-win. As we go to the top of the 8th inning, Guo Hongzhi, the new pitcher, as he's known to American baseball fans, Hung Chi Kuo pitching on back-to-back days.
First and only player from Taiwan to be selected to the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. A great career over in the major leagues. Also hit a home run, and you got to give a guy who's left-handed that kind of credit, right?
Do you know your career batting totals off the top of your head?
I know I hit 4 home runs. I do know that.
Off of? I'm sure you recall.
Mario Soto, Scott Sanderson, Eric Hillman, and Doug Drabek.
That took you about 2.5 seconds to call to mind.
Yeah, I'm just reading off the notes here.
Our internal statistics department reports a career batting average of 139 for Joe McGrain.
Yeah, a lot of that affected by sacrifice bunting.
Which would not make any sense, statistically speaking.
Exactly right.
36 your sack bunt total.
Geez, tell Mitch to take the rest of the day off, will you?
Actually, that was our producer, Sparky, who reports that total. Mitch says the number is much higher at 53. It's a nice play. Ranged into foul territory for the second baseman, Guo Yanwen.
Boy, that was some kind of a play right there. I mean, you look where he is and how far he has to go. Right fielder does not have a play. Look like it has a chance to be a fair ball. Just a quick look to see where the right fielder is. And then he turns on the Jets. Absolutely a fair ball. Best play of the day.
And can we get a comment on the neckwear, the fashion statement as well?
I'd say it's pretty effective right now because it is cold out there.
Aerodynamic the way he was ranging there. So the pinch hitter states here retired. One out, and now Roger Bernardino with a bubble gum. Takes a called strike one. One more statistic can I ask you about, Joe? You never legged out a triple. No three-baggers in your day. You had the jacket on by the time you reached second, right?
No, I was never big on wearing the jacket. I know that was back in the old days. A lot of guys like to throw on the jacket to keep the arm warm. Playing a lot of games in St. Louis, and you wanted to be as a pitcher feel like an everyday player, and it's something that just seems to take all the athletic look away when you put on that jacket when you're over at first base.
Not even on a summer night at Candlestick?
Does not matter. You're already dressed for that weather anyway. Why put on a jacket? All it's going to do is slow you down and make you look like a bit of a geek.
Well, try telling that to Rick Russell.
Good pitcher.
Deflected ball to shortstop, and Bernardino retired. Well, if you're claiming the jackets injured your athletic appeal, what's with the goose egg in the stolen base category?
I did steal home one time. That game was canceled. It was on Monday Night Baseball. It was canceled due to rain, but I did steal home in the first and third situation, and the bad luck had that statistically wiped off the board. So that was a big almost.
Hung-Chi Kuo was good for a perfect inning yesterday. 3 up, 3 down in the 8th. The Netherlands still hung up on one hit. Step aside Kobayashi and Joey Chestnut, the new local Frank record for consumption set before today's broadcast by font coordinator Jeff Whipple. 18 in 10 minutes. Way to go, Jeff.
We've seen squid, stinky tofu, and that's a little more traditional, a little more appetizing, I think. No offense.
Jeff's specialty is actually grilled fish at the breakfast buffet. 18 is just calisthenics for him when it comes to the breakfast buffet. And then, of course, he has to infringe on the company of his truck mates.
Well, that's why they call him Mr. Whipple.
Locked into a tightly sealed engineering truck for 4 and sometimes 5 hours at a time. Right now, 5's the deficit for the Netherlands. With Chinese Taipei batting, Chen Yong-ji, the number 6 hitter.
Senior showing a good fastball here in his second inning of work. It's a nice traditional delivery right over the top. Trumpets are blaring.
You're still talking about Jeff?
Talk about that nice and easy delivery by Senior, and the ball comes out nice, explodes. Beautiful look at it from tight center. Right by Chen. He's got a good, nice, confident look in his eye. He's pouring it in there.
In the battle of the teenagers, I think he's got the edge tonight. Zhang Renhan, 18-year-old for Chinese Taipei. Impressed with his velocity, just not the location. Walking a couple of batters with a strikeout. Sania has come on at 19 years of age from Curacao, rookie leaguer in the Baltimore organization, making his national team debut.
Chen-Ming Wang, who was absolutely dominant and economical with his pitch count in yesterday's game. Great leadership, 6 solid innings, all kinds of ground ball outs. Looked like he was wearing Yankee pinstripes.
One-two, ripped up the middle and into center field. Second hit of the day for Zhang Zhenming.
Kind of a little foshball changeup, trying to mix it up a little bit. And it's a pitch that's seen a lot in the Taiwanese Baseball League. Just ripped right up the middle. Stay with it, fastball, kid.
Again, this is a matchup of 1-0 teams in Pool B. And while this is not a clinching contest, Chinese Taipei would be in prime position with a victory, not only improving to 2-0, but also adding to their run differential, perhaps adding to that total here in the bottom of the 8th. Each run counts, and the chance that they drop Tuesday's contest against South Korea. Catcher Lin Han-yu. Sania working out of the stretch for the first time, brings the 1-1. Missed off the inside edge. Tell by the reaction he wanted it.
Yeah, I think you got to just stick with that fastball. That's been the pitch that has kind of befuddled these hitters. Obviously, you have to have those complementary pitches, but they're out with the heater.
Sound off the bat, but again, nothing carrying really from right center field all the way over to the left field line. Just that one jet stream down the right field pole.
And we've seen Yang Daigong hit one over the right field fence today. Hung Young Min yesterday, pretty much in the same spot, right down the right field line, and unusual because both of them are right-handed hitters.
Third hitter for Chinese Taipei to appear in the 9-hole. This is utility infielder Chen Zhong-he. Good day down at first base for Zhang. RBI single back in the second inning, was intentionally walked and scored in the 4th. Effective sacrifice bunt, part of a 3-run frame in the 6th, and now a 8th inning single as well. Chen Zhong-he ahead in the count 2-0. In at 88 miles an hour. Chen made a brief appearance in a similar situation in November qualifying, went 0 for 2 with a strikeout in that game. Taipei in this contest saw their first deficit of the 2013 World Baseball Classic, going all the way back to those 3 games in November in qualifying. It lasted all of 2 innings until they put up a 4 spot in the 4th inning. Rallying to take a 5-3 advantage that swelled to 8-3 with 3 more in the 6th.
Yeah, it seemed like everything started to work out for them after they had a little get-together right out in front of their dugout and put 4 runs on the board. A couple of walks by the Netherlands hitters, which has not helped them out this afternoon.
Lineup turns over here with a 2-out walk issued. Chinese Taipei runners at first and second. And with Yang Daigong coming to the plate, so let's flash back to the 6th.
And does that really look like a home run? Almost looks like a glancing blow off of his bat. It's pretty lean and well put together, but not what you'd call a typical power hitter's build to be able to drive the ball out of the ballpark the other way. Certainly not built like the number 3 hitter Peng Young-min. He's actually built more like a leadoff hitter, runs well.
What their home runs here in the last 2 evenings had in common, though, is their location right down that right field jet stream. On the opposite field with power. 2 on, 2 out, bottom 8th. And Senia has suddenly lost the zone.
Bert Blyleven likes to preach, just reach out loosey-goosey and feel like you're throwing everything out front. That brings the ball down. He's been underneath the last couple of pitches. And when that happens, you do lose the direction towards the plate. A little bit better. You want to feel like you're driving the ball, using the mound to your advantage and driving it down the hill towards around the knee level of the hitter.
Up. And as the game officially hits the 3-hour mark, I tell you what, Joe McGreen, I don't think the score nor the weather nor the time impacts the volume in this building one bit.
Yeah, I was just thinking kudos to the Chinese Taipei fans. They have brought it and continue to bring it from the first pitch to the 3-hour mark.
In no small way, I think you have to see that plays into the rally from a 3-0 deficit. There was no sense of panic in the building. In fact, I'm not sure anyone even noticed if it wasn't up on the scoreboard.
Well, I think yesterday it was kind of the concern as to how Chen-Ming Wang, the best pitcher to ever come out of Taiwan, how he was going to pitch. He was absolutely masterful. A lot of confidence, gave this team a big lift, and it's carried over to today.
Senia recovers for the strikeout, and it's 5:35 local time in Taiwan. Last call for the Netherlands. Chen Hong-wen to work the 9th. He's got an 8-3 advantage and will face Andrew Jones to lead off the 9th.
He signed a nice contract out of college by the Chicago Cubs back in 2007.
As this 9th gets underway, still just 1 tally in the hit column for Andrew Jones and Team Netherlands, and it came from their 9 hitter, the catcher, way back in the 2nd inning. Since then, the last 22 batters have combined to go 0 for 19 with 3 free passes.
Chen pitched in the Cubs system for 5 years, reaching AAA back in 2010.
Again, missed up, 3-0.
You know, this is when you look at some of the biographical information and you go, It says he hit 98 miles an hour on the radar gun while pitching for the Pirates de Campeche in the Mexican League. And if he was throwing 98 in the Mexican League, you would think he'd be throwing 98 in the major leagues. Unless the plate was bouncing around like it did to Andrew Jones.
Now batting sixth, number 1, Sander Boger.
Chen remains in the game to play second base after pinch hitting in the previous half.
And of course, necklines continue to rise. I don't know if this is reaction after the wardrobe in the Oscars.
Well, he just took it off of Guo as he took his place.
Trend setting in Taiwan.
Bogarts reaching for that on 0-1. Jones the out at second. The relay not in time.
Nice job staying with that. It kind of came up on the heel of his glove, and nice to be able to turn that into an out. He did not have control of it in his glove. He's had it up against his belly button. Still able to get the lead out.
And so Curt Smith will bat with 1 out and 1 aboard. Was part of the 3-run frame for Team Netherlands in the second inning. Walked and came around to score. Also walked in the 7th inning. He's 0 for 1 in the game. Smith was a senior at the University of Maine in the United States when he caught the attention of an area scout for the St. Louis Cardinals. They ended up taking him in the 08 draft.
JB has to be so disappointing for the Netherlands. It started so well, and they were really riding a lot of momentum after last night's win against Korea. Got off to a 3-0 lead and then just fell flat.
Well, Skipper Mullins and the rest of his side will have a day to think about it. Their next game will be on Tuesday just after noon local time against Australia. Chen Hongwen, the 6th pitcher for Chinese Taipei, gets a punch out of Curt Smith for out number 2.
Five-run lead, still spinning the breaking ball. Good downer there. Well, they've had a lot of fun tonight after the concerns after how well Chen-Ming Wang pitched, going up against a very strong team in the Netherlands and 1 out away.
So Wang there, watching as he will be for the remainder of Pool B competition, but the way that Chinese Taipei is going, very good chance the international baseball community will be able to see him work again in the Tokyo Dome in round 2. Bogart's down at first with his lead. 2-0 the count, 2 outs, top 9 to Galian Song. Runner off with the pitch. I don't think Chinese Taipei could be any less interested. Again, this run not insignificant if you're talking about the tiebreaker scenarios for Team Netherlands, as they're about to fall to 1-1 in Pool B competition. If they can get to 2-1 with a victory over Australia on Tuesday, we start counting.
It's pretty much a stoic impression that Wang had on his face in yesterday's game. Doesn't give you much.
On their feet in Taichung as Chen comes set. Payoff pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 3 to end the game. And Chinese Taipei is one huge step closer to the second round.
Well, you're right, JB. We said it right off the top. Whoever won this game really enhanced their chances of making it into the second round, and the way the Netherlands had played last night looked like they were the stronger team. Biggest question is what type of starting pitching performance was Chinese Taipei going to get after the incredible one by Chen-Ming Wang the night before, and it really wasn't about that. It was about the Netherlands pitching staff melting down and some timely hitting by Chinese Taipei and a big win.
Utter lack of hitting from the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Just one hit that came in the second inning from the 9 spot in their order. Credit 6 different arms for Chinese Taipei, combining for the 1-hit victory. It's a final of 8-3. Both these teams will have tomorrow off. And take a look at the updated Pool B standings with Chen-Ming Wang and his teammates atop the table at 2-0. Netherlands taking its first defeat. Their next game will be against Australia on Tuesday afternoon. Coming up in just a few minutes, the 2013 World Baseball Classic continues from Japan with the 2-time defending champions hosting China. And the first action for the Chinese, and then Joe McGrain and I will be back here in Taiwan tomorrow. See Korea and Australia play what is a de facto must-win game. They hope to keep their hopes alive here in Pool B. Once again, your final score from Taichung. Chinese Taipei improving to 2-0 in Pool B competition. 8-3 the final on the strength of 7 hits. And they hold the Dutch to just 1 tally in that hit column as well. That'll do it for us from Taiwan. We'll see you back here tomorrow for Korea and Australia. Chinese Taipei moving 1 step closer to Japan.